Okay, trading is gambling and other cheerful dinner party topics of conversation. Well, I do hope I get a sympathetic ear with this particular video. It comes about because of a dinner party my wife gave on Friday night, where we had some very good friends come over, and frankly I got a bit of a grilling. Then on Monday morning I opened up my feeds and I saw an interview that Hugh Hendry had done, famous hedge fund manager out of the UK, very outspoken, with a very tough interviewer, Jeremy Paxman, who does the Hard Talk show in the UK. And there was a real similarity between the questions I got on the Friday night and what I saw Hugh Hendry go through. So I thought it'd be kind of curious just to show you the questions I got and the responses I gave. Now, just by way of background, the questions that I got were coming from two people who work in the arts. I wouldn't describe their worldview as anti-capitalist, but definitely liberal leaning. So just some background. The first kind of question or observation I got was, trading is gambling. It is bad. You should not be doing it. And this was my response. Trading and gambling are different. Gambling, the house always wins. We're talking about table games and casino, sports betting, the lottery and so on. With all of these games, there's a negative expectation. You will lose money in the long run. Trading is different. When you're trading, you're taking a view as to what the future holds, and you have a counterparty that takes the exact opposite view. You might think that the market's going to go up, they think the market's going to go down. You buy future contracts, they sell a futures contract. Net net, it's a zero-sum game. One of you will win, one of you will lose. And so if you're better at picking the direction, in the long term you will make money. And so inasmuch as gambling is wrong because you're a fool, you'll always lose money, it is possible, if you're a good trader, to make money in the long term. As an observation, poker was about the only game I could think of where it's more like trading than gambling, just because there's less house involvement. If you're a good poker player, you can make money in the long term. But if you're playing the slots in Vegas, I'm sorry, that's just a losing proposition. So the second kind of grilling question I got was, shorting is unethical. And here, the observation was, driving prices down should not be allowed. My response to this was, so bulls can go out into the public and talk things up. That's perfectly okay. Things going up is fine. But bears shouldn't be allowed to go out and talk about them shorting the market and taking positions expecting prices to go down. Where's the parity in that kind of situation? If one is allowed, the other should be allowed. If you're going to stop, kind of commentary, media commentary, people publishing their positions and so on, then it should be the same rule for everybody. There shouldn't be an expectation that things going up is allowed and things going down is not allowed and somehow bad. And for me, we've forgotten about cycles. Things go up and things go down. I think when we were farmers, we felt that a lot more. With seasonal changes, there's good and bad weather. You have bumper crops and failed crops. And so there was a better understanding of cycles. Today we live in this kind of cotton wool world where the government is saying, I'm here to protect you from the cycles. Don't worry, things will always go up, things will always be good, you don't need to protect yourself. And I just think that's a really naive kind of view of the world, and frankly it's unnatural, and so it will break. And then lastly, why shouldn't I be able to protect myself and profit from someone else's screw up? Somehow hedging is okay, so I'm allowed to insure myself. Let's say I am a farmer and I want to hedge the price of corn. Hedging's okay. If the price of corn goes down and I've shorted corn, I make money because I've protected, locked in my price of corn. That on a long-term perspective is okay. But if I do it in 30 minutes and make money on a short-term short trade, somehow that's not good, and there's kind of a difference between long-term investing or hedging and short-term speculation. I find that kind of curious, that there's a difference in perspective between those two. Third question I did not get, but it was kind of implied, and that trading is immoral. And this one I find really difficult to answer. The view expressed is that trading doesn't produce anything and therefore it's parasitical. And I must admit, when I was 19 I thought that, and I was dead against the financial industries. I wanted to be an engineer and produce things and do good for society. My view has changed in that over the years, but I do understand that kind of point of view. I don't know what moral is. I know if I harm someone, that is immoral. I don't think trading is harmful. It's difficult to say whether I think trading is actually immoral. It doesn't feel immoral to me. But I can tell you there are things around that do feel immoral to me, and those are the things I think we should be more concerned about. Retirees like my mother earning 0% interest on her savings account, and effectively the banks being recapitalized at the cost of people on fixed incomes, retirement, and people with savings. That, I think, is immoral. Bank depositors having their money confiscated, as they did in Cyprus, because banks made bad bets, that is immoral. And banks behaving like hedge funds with too big to fail and being bailed out by taxpayers, that's immoral. And lastly, money in segregated accounts being stolen. I tell you, all of those things in my view are immoral. Trading itself, I don't think is immoral, but I must admit from time to time I struggle with this. I do wonder what greater good I'm doing, but I enjoy it, I'm okay at it, and it's in my DNA, so I don't see it as being immoral, but I don't necessarily see it as being productive, like someone who is solving an energy crisis or healing people. Then lastly, an observation. I felt that the general public really doesn't understand some of the basics, the difference between futures and options, and then the difference between shorting stocks and shorting futures. And it did make me feel as though if the general public understood more, there would be more outrage in what's going on, and they'd be more able to manage their own financial futures, or at least not get suckered into kind of bad situations. So I hope in some way that Emini-Watch kind of contributes to the greater good and the knowledge out there about what's kind of happening and what the financial markets are. For me, I say it loud. I'm a speculator and I'm proud. I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep on doing it. I hope you feel the same way. I hope that's why you come to Emini-Watch. I hope you're fascinated by the markets just like I am, and you want to protect yourself, thrive, and prosper. We finished the dinner party well. We had a great dessert. No punches were thrown. It was awkward, but we made it through. Hope your trading's going well.